Today I'm going to help you decide if you should buy an extended warranty when you buy a car or not. Now, extended warranties came into my mind a few days ago when one of my customers was buying a brand new car, and they said, heck, the salesman was pushing and pushing for hours to sell them one of these extended warranty plans. And since they were buying a new Toyota, I said, well, you didn't waste your money and buy one, did you? They said, no, we just went with the warranty that the car came with. But they wanted to know why they were pushing the warranty sales to them. Well, I did a little research on the internet and found out why. The answer was simple. It turns out that when they're selling you one of these extended warranty plans, the commission to the sales guy is almost 50% of what you're paying for the entire insurance policy. So they're making the money selling it to you. And conversely, that means that half of the money you're spending goes for a commission. So the insurance policy is only worth half of the money you pay for it. Well, it's a great deal for the salesman, but not such a hot deal for you. As an example, I had a customer with a Volvo that bought one of those extended warranties on a used car. And he brought it to me, and I looked and I said, well, the rear main seal of the engine's leaking oil. So I called up the company and they said, oh, well, that's not covered under the warranty. You have to realize that an extended warranty is just an insurance plan through an insurance company. And guess who decides what's covered and what isn't? The company itself. And when I read through the guy's policy, I told him, I said, the only person that could really comprehend his policy would be a lawyer/mechanic, because there were legal terms, but there were also mechanical terms. So you're not going to find too many lawyer/mechanics to help you out. And to make matters even worse, I had another customer who had a Fiat, and they bought an extended warranty from a third party. When they brought it over here and I found out that it needed an alternator, I called the 1-800 number, only to find that the company didn't exist anymore. It had gone bankrupt. I find if you're buying a quality car like a Toyota, a Honda, something that's really going to last, you're better off looking at the money that it costs for the extended warranty. Just put that in the bank and use that for repairs, and you'll probably be thanking Scotty years down the line when you don't spend any of that money on the repairs that would have been covered, and you still have the money that you would have wasted on this policy. But there are times that I do advise my customers to buy a warranty policy, and that is when they buy the wrong type of car. If they buy a Mercedes or a Jaguar, by all means buy a policy, but buy it from the dealer where it's going to be stood by. Because I've had many customers with Jaguars, Mercedes, Porsches, they ended up getting 5 or 6 times the amount of work done that they paid for the policy on those cars because they break down as they age. But then again, if you're wise, don't even buy those cars in the first place. Here we have a 2017 GMC Sierra. The guy owns a bunch of them because he runs a commercial business, and believe it or not, he has an 89 Sierra. He uses it for plowing and stuff. That has over 600,000 miles. Original engine. Now, he did rebuild the transmission twice. That's the weakest points of these things. But you can see why he likes them, because he's had pretty good luck with them. Now, as to how they ripped them off, they tried to, but he got his money back. This has 182,000 miles on it. Still the original V8 engine. Still the original transmission. He changes the fluids and filters often. But at 90,000 miles, you notice the bolt was missing. Right there. On the exhaust manifold. You can see there's no bolt there. It's broken off. The other ones have bolts, but that one is broken. He's not yelling at the dealership this time. He's yelling at GMC itself. Because he said the guys at the dealership were very nice. They said, okay, the bolt missing on the engine, they should certainly cover it under warranty. You paid extra, you paid like $3 grand for a special warranty. But for some reason, GMC said, take some pictures of the truck. They said that to the dealer, and what did they see? Well, he's in Massachusetts and he's got a plow hitch there. So what did they say at GMC? They said, you've been plowing, you don't have a warranty for commercial work, we're not gonna fix it. Now, really, what plowing has to do with a bolt coming off the exhaust manifold is kind of beyond me. I could see if the transmission blew up or, you know, it started burning oil, but this thing still doesn't burn oil because he changes his oil. So he didn't have any problems with that, and he's done the transmission fluid changes in the pan and the filter, so he's got no problems with that. But the bolt was missing. And they, well, no, we're not going to fix it. So, as I said, he's not mad at the dealer. He said the dealer treated him fine. So the dealer said, tell you what, we'll give you half of your warranty money back, and then he got half of his warranty money back from GMC, and didn't bother fixing the missing bolt. Well, 100,000 miles later, he's still driving it, and it's running okay. You know, eventually something will happen, and you'd have to take it out and drill it out and tap it, put a new bolt in. But, I mean, what scumbags? Here's a guy who not only bought himself a $50,000 pickup truck back then, which is what the list price was, he paid a little bit less, but still, was listed at 50 G's. Then he paid $3 for a warranty, and he didn't have the common courtesy of putting a bolt under warranty. This is why you stay the heck away from warranty. They are forever finding an excuse. I had a guy last year, his torque converter went out in his automatic transmission, wouldn't move, right? So he had this powertrain warranty for 100,000 miles. It was way less than 100,000 miles, right? So I takes it in, and they said, well, that's not covered under the powertrain warranty. That's a wearable part. All right, well, you got the engine, flywheel, the torque converter bolts on there, then it slips in the transmission. To me, it's part of the drivetrain, but they made him pay for a torque converter because they said that's not covered. Now, to me, if somebody says you got a 100,000 mile powertrain, that's part of the powertrain. There's the engine, the torque converter that converts the power to the transmission that puts it to the wheels. To me, that's powertrain, right? But not to them. So be very leery about these warranties. At least he got his money back. Now, believe it or not, he can get as much as 22.5 miles a gallon in this thing. It has a 6-speed transmission and a V8 engine. He doesn't hit it hard. He got 21.5 coming over here. Not phenomenal, but for a big truck, that's pretty good gas mileage. In his lifetime, he figures he's owned 11 Toyotas. He's got a really nice TRD Tacoma Pro that he bought a couple years ago. That's a beautiful truck, but he needs these big trucks for his business, for plowing, for pulling stuff around. Like I said, his old one with over 600,000 miles is sitting in a yard. He doesn't drive it on the street anymore, but it's sitting in his yard, not his house yard, his business yard, and he uses it for plowing snow and stuff. And it's still going strong. Now, everybody knows I'm not a big GM fan, but even though this thing was made in Mexico, not a fan of that either, right? It is GMC. I have many customers that the last Silverado they bought, maybe a decade ago or so, they said, I'll never buy another one. It was a pile of crap. Some of them gambled with GMC, and they loved them. And they go out and buy another one, and they get a lot of mileage out of them. Granted, eventually the transmission will break, and his other one, he had to have it rebuilt twice and 600,000 miles. This one's still going okay. We're going to scan it and check it all out. But there's something about the GMCs. They're better made than the Silverados that GM's putting out. It's just bizarre because most of the stuff is relatively the same. Now, he showed me on the undercarriage that he doesn't like their system because, as you can see, the rust starting on the frame. It's still pretty solid, but you can see it. It lasts as long as the warranty. Now that it's out of warranty, guess what? You can see it's starting to rust. And he uses these guys to coat them so they don't rust, but they won't coat them because they said this stupid wax that they put on, our stuff won't stick to it. It's like plastic crap on cars. They make them out of plastic, not because it weighs less. Oh, when you get better gas mileage, they do it because it's cheaper to make. That's all. Plastic goes in an injection mold, out it comes. Metal has to be poured, then it's taken out, then it's got to be polished and ported. Costs more money to make. They just make stuff out of plastic because it's cheaper, and they're just coating these things cheaper because after it's out of warranty, they don't care. They would rather have the frame rust out. Now, he's even got 20 miles a gallon towing their casita in the back all over the country. And unlike the Silverados, he's done basically nothing to it. He's had to change one battery and one starter. That's it. He changes the oils and filters all the time. He keeps up on the stuff because he's a business guy. He knows you don't want to destroy your equipment for one of changing some fluids. And other than the frame starting to get superficial rust on it, you can see the body's in excellent shape. Even the chrome plating on the bumper's still in good shape. 180,000 miles, you can see the seats and everything have held up quite well. Now, of course, when you go in the driver's seat, always gets a little crunch because he's a big guy like me, so we always crunch the outside of the seats. It's got a sunroof. Nice set of gauges. Charging, water temperature, gas gauge, oil pressure. Two-wheel auto, four-wheel low, four-wheel high. These are kind of fading away. They could have made it a little bit better, but you can see he's got 182,000 miles and he got 21.2 miles a gallon driving it over here on the highway. And as you can hear or not hear, And maybe you're missing that exhaust bolt, but it doesn't have a leak. It's not making any noise. Got the scan tool plugged in. GMC Sierra 5.3 V8. And we know it's a 6-speed automatic. We'll do a diagnosis, auto scan. And while it's scanning, kind of take a look around. It's really held up quite well. Part of that's probably because he doesn't have any grandkids yet. They haven't been able to get in, destroy the seats, and chew everything up. So, it's clean. It doesn't smell like there's been any dogs in there either. And here we go. There's a bunch of good stuff. And there's a few little problems. So, we'll start with the transmission control module. And it's got codes for system low voltage. You're going to see a lot of this stuff as they age. As usual, we're going to erase the code. And we'll see if any of them come back after a road test. Camera module. More of these crazy fault codes. See what the trouble code is. Lost communication with electronic brake control module. Invalid data. Okay, we'll erase that too. See what the radio code is. Voltage to the control module. We'll erase that too. Now, he's had the battery replaced once. And I'm always warning people, you don't have to check engine light or anything on, but you'll often get these funky codes about low voltage. Battery gets old, you replace it. And if you don't reset the codes, the stupid things stay because these are communication codes. They're different than your engine codes. If you got a problem with your engine and your check engine light comes on, if you fix the problem, then it'll go off on its own if you actually fix the problem. These communication codes are different. You have to manually reset them. And here, the body control module, we have more control circuits, low voltage. So we're just going to erase them all. We shall go to live data. We'll start it up. And we'll start analyzing the live data. We're going to look at the transmission data. Remember, it's all color-coded. It's all black. These are all within normal specifications. Some engine data. Everything looks pretty good. You can see the misfires. They're all zeros. It's not misfiring at all. See the NOx sensors. There's no NOx detected on any of the 8 cylinders. And the cam doesn't have any excessive wear. He's taking care of this thing, so let's take it for a spin. So here we go to the dangerous counter. Now wait till everybody gets out of the way, and it's lunchtime, so they're all going to be headed to a restaurant. So we shall wait, but it's idling smooth. You can see you can level anything you're pulling. It's a pretty well set up truck. And hey, 182,000 miles so far. It's running pretty good for that kind of mileage. All right, we have room. Let's see what this V8 can do. And yes, it can do things. Listen to that engine. Nothing sounds like a V8 engine. Still runs perfectly fine. Now, you wouldn't get 21.5 miles a gallon driving like that, but hey, you do if you're going 65 on a highway. So we'll take a little swing down the road by the beach. It's even got the swanky turn signals on the side view mirror. Look at that. In case you forget what you're doing, I guess. Oh yeah, I'm turning over there. Considering he's pulled trailers all over the country and stuff with it, it still runs this good. Doesn't burn any oil. Hey, it's just something about the GMCs versus the Chevys. I really don't know what it is. Very similar, but there's just something about the GMCs. They seem to hold up better. And it has a butt cooler. He turned it on. I can feel my butt getting cool already. And it's still working too. Track's fine, no wheel bearing noises. And interestingly, no rear end noise. Now he takes care of it and changes the fluids and stuff. But almost all of the GM 1500 Silverados I see end up having rear differential problems because they're made in Mexico and they did a good job building them. But for some reason, this is 182,000 miles and there's not a sound coming out of that differential. Well, none of those stupid communication codes came back. 182,000 miles. He's the original owner. Doesn't burn oil. Got 21.5 miles a gallon. Bring it here. And strangely enough, pulling his trailer, he was getting 20 miles a gallon. Hey, for something that big, just remember, it says GMC. I would never tell somebody to buy a Silverado, any late model ones. They stopped making good ones, maybe 2003 or 4 or 5. But I have a lot of customers that have the GMCs that are totally happy with them. Go figure. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.